Hello and welcome to an episode of Historically Marked. I am Jason, but I am back in Cali, or going back to Cali as LL Cool J says, or sunny SoCal. But I am in the beach community of Dana Point, which was incorporated in 1989. It has a population of over 33,000 people, but it is also known as the southern terminus of the Pacific Coast Highway, also known as California Highway 1 or the 1. There's a historical marker. I'm also standing in front of a monument. We're going to read off some of the history. There's 4 markers here at least, and I'm also going to show you some more history of Dana Point, so stay tuned. All right, so the sun is in the way, but hey, this is the monument that greets you as you are pulling off Interstate 5, or as Californians say, the 5. It's about a mile or so on California Highway 1. It's late in the afternoon. Traffic has been busy. And yes, the southern terminus is right here. This is the start of a 656-mile journey to the north coast. I mean, there really is no way of traveling the Pacific Coast Highway. Some people would rather start from the north. As for me, I'm going to start from the south. So here is a marker that talks about the highway. Okay, California's Highway 1, the most beautiful drive in America. California's fabled road begins here in Dana Point and winds north along the scenic California coast, linking waterside destinations, secluded stretches, and California's biggest cities. The road ends near Leggett and Mendocino County. But yes, it does go through a brief stretch of LA twice. It goes through Long Beach, Santa Barbara, Malibu, Santa Monica, San Francisco, Santa Cruz. Well, not in that order, but I think you get the idea. And yes, this is the beginning of my journey. I drove here from San Diego. It took me about over an hour to get here. Okay, continuing on with the marker. New cars need a new road. The sudden popularity of cars in the early 20th century meant a sudden need for reliable roads. Highway planning began in 1919 and construction started in 1921. By 1937, crews hung up their pickaxes and California opened its first north-south corridor. Same highway, many names. This section of road has been known by different names and route numbers over the years. In 1941, the state officially renamed it Pacific Coast Highway, or commonly known in the Los Angeles area, PCH. I go by either one. And in 1964, when California adopted its numbering system, it also became Highway 1. Now there is also the Pacific Coast Highway that goes all the way to the Mexican border, all the way to Seattle, but I'm not going to be doing that. I'm just going to be doing California Highway 1 on this trip. Technically speaking, I am going to do the first bottom half all the way to Monterey. But here's a little map. Okay, here I am right here. My shadow, okay. Then to Los Angeles, Ventura. Yeah, the Ventura Highway, America. This also inspired a song. Big Sur and Leggett. Surprisingly, it does not mention a lot of the named major cities like Santa Barbara and San Francisco and all the others. But that's okay. But here's what to expect. I definitely can't wait to... So here is something on Dana Point's early years. Life before the highway, the only romantic spot on the coast. Dana Point is named after Richard Henry Dana Jr., a picture of him here. Dana called this area the only romantic spot on the coast. Words of admiration that would forever link his name with this place. Dana became a prominent New England politician and lawyer. He never lived in Dana Point. Wow. And then, in 2 years before the mast, a book Dana wrote about his voyage to California. In 2 years before the mast, a book Dana wrote about his voyage to California. He described the crew tossing stiff cowhides off the headlands to be loaded onto the big rig Pilgrim. Cowhides were so valuable in the 19th century that they were called California banknotes. And one other thing I forgot to mention is this is supposed to resemble a Richfield tower, as it says right here. Dana Point's landmark for 43 years. From 1928 until 1971, one feature dominated the stretch of roadway. A giant open-frame tower marked with neon letters spelling out Richfield, as part of the name of the Richfield Oil and Gas Company. Similar, but not the same. The tower above you echoes the design of Dana Point's Richfield Tower. This one is just 31 feet tall with 30-inch letters, far smaller than the original. Oh look, they even got a Highway 1 sign. I thought it was a bike rack at first, but no, it's just a little sign. It's a little rusted, but hey, nothing can be perfect, right? And then I'm going to show you a California historic landmark marker. Here we go. All right, so that is the Pacific Ocean. I'm already starting to feel the breeze, but it's late in the afternoon. I kind of got a late start here. But what I'm going to do is read off the historical marker that's just right there. So there are two of these identical ones. One of them is on the north, or should I say the western part of Dana Point, western part of the city, and then this is the one at the eastern part of the city. But here is Dana Point. It is 2 miles. Named for Richard Henry Dana, described in his book 2 Years Before the Mast as the most romantic California spot. In the glamorous days of the ranchos, 1830 to 1840, Yankee vessels traded supplies for hides here. And this area as a whole was designated a historical landmark, California historical landmark, and as a number 189. So it's a little faded, but hey. And not too far from the marker are a bunch of statues and sculptures and some markers. I'm going to start with this one right here, the Endless Summer. Well, that's just a mosaic, but there's a marker right behind it. Or right there, rather. So the way I remember Endless Summer was, it was a greatest hits album by the Beach Boys, which I don't think it mentions that on here. No, it does not. But it was a movie during the 1960s. Okay, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Surfing's greatest film was born in Dana Point. Filmed in the early 1960s, the documentary The Endless Summer follows 2 Californians as they circle the globe to surf. The pair introduced the sport to many who had never seen it and discovered what is now one of the world's most famous surf spots, South Africa's Cape St. Francis. Now, filmmaker Bruce Brown said the title represented a surfer's pipe dream. If you traveled around the world at just the right speed, you'd be in the middle of a summer 365 days of a year. And this is one of the most recognized surf imagery in the world. I'll show you some of these sculptures too. Like this one is Joyce Hoffman. She stepped onto her first surfboard at age 13. Shortly after her mother married surfing great Walter Hoffman and they moved to Dana Point. Hoffman taught Joyce the sport. She answered with talent, athleticism, and an unquenchable competitive drive, elevating and modernizing women's professional surfing into the intensely competitive sport it has become today. Here's a nice one. Husband and wife team Barry Aglaw and Steve Buene teamed up to tandem surf. They practically redefined the sport. They won many competitions while pioneering new difficult lifts still used in tandem surfing today. They also won each other's hearts and got married in 1971. And I don't know if they're still alive, but happy 55th anniversary this year in 2026. Dana Point also got the nickname Killer Dana. It's well explained on this marker to the right of it. Now back home there are no beaches. Well, there's few to far, you know, there's fewer than expected, but I mean, on TV, you know, you also hear that waves are dangerous, especially those who swim in the ocean. But the waves were killer here at Dana Point. Back in the day, if you dared, you grabbed your board and headed for Killer Dana. The wave was known as Dana Cove when the weather was calm, but when the surf was up over 10 feet, Killer Dana's thick, right-breaking curl earned its nickname. Wow. Now, personally, I've never learned how to surf. I mean, I know it's not too late, but I don't think I'm going to mess with that sport. The 1966 construction of seawalls to protect Dana Point Harbor quelled the notorious wave. Surfers mourned Killer Dana's demise, but its name and reputation lived on. And as a fun fact, Doheny was California's first state beach. There are several of them, and I'm going to be passing through a lot of them and hopefully visiting some along when I go up to PCH. But this was donated for public use in the memory of Edward L. Doheny Jr. in 1931. And if you recognize the name Doheny, yes, there is a Doheny Drive in LA, which is a little, not too far from here. It's about 60 miles. You also hear it in the, as one of the lyrics in the Beach Boys song Surfin' USA, as it says right here. Here's a statue of Hobie Alter and his invention, the Hobie Cat. He was a surfer, but then he turned around and revolutionized sailing, as it says on here. and left an indelible mark on Californian and American culture. Really cool. I'll show you a couple more of these. That is Phil Edwards. Oh, and to my left is the famous Dana Point pedestrian walkway that takes you to the beach. Yeah, there's a stairway, and I think there's an elevator too that takes you up there, but I'm not gonna walk across it, unfortunately, for time constraints. Maybe another time. All right, here's an interesting one. Philip, also known as Flippy, and Walter Hoffman. All right, so it says on the marker, the pioneers of surf style and spirit. They were devoted surfers, lifelong Dana Point residents, and visionary owners of the iconic Hoffman California fabrics. Walter and Philip Hoffman helped shape the look and feel of modern surf culture. Taking the reins of their father's fabric business in the 1970s, Walter and Philip led the company into its golden era. Under their guidance, the company became the go-to service for surfwear giants, including Ocean Pacific, Quicksilver, Gotcha, Billabong, and O'Neill. Their fabrics define the aloha-inspired aesthetic that has become a global symbol of surf lifestyle. I want to give you a better view. And going back to this walkway, apparently there's hours, so it's not 24/7. It's 6 a.m. to 8:30, and it's, oh yeah, okay, there is an elevator here, duh. It was just right in front of me. It's got some great artwork on there too, including this right here. Dana Point, where Richard Henry Dana Jr. threw the hides purchased at the old mission to the beach below to be loaded and shipped to Boston nearly 100 years ago. Cool, cool. This is titled Dana Point in 1933 by artist Lubika Salika from 2009. Wow, you know you're in California or on the West Coast when you see a sign like this, tsunami evacuation route. Wow. And yeah, I mean, this is definitely beautiful scenery I'll be seeing the next few days. I gotta appreciate the scenery because this is nothing I can get back home. The hills, the walkways, the nice big houses, the palm trees, oh yeah. So that is my introductory video onto the southern terminus of PCH. Unfortunately, due to time constraints, I had a few other places to visit in mind, but unfortunately I can't get to them today. I'm actually on my way to Newport Beach. I may do a video there tomorrow, who knows? That's where my hotel is. But the sun's starting to set, so I got about maybe an hour's drive to my hotel. So hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next beach area. Sign off.